Hey everyone, have you ever stopped to think about what makes a rule a good rule or a fair one? It seems like a simple question, right? But today, we're going to dive into it using a really interesting case study from Australia's legal system. It asks a pretty wild question. What if a country's laws weren't actually real law at all? Let's get into it.
Okay, to make this super simple, let's imagine a country is just one giant game. Now, for any game to be fair, you need rules that everyone understands, right? And you need a referee who makes sure everyone follows them. But what if the rule book was written in disappearing ink? What if the referee could just make up new rules in the middle of the game? Would you still want to play? I wouldn't. That's really the big question we're looking at today.
And this leads us to a really important idea from the source material we're looking at. It's the difference between what it calls real law and, well, pretend law. Real law is fair, it's predictable, it protects you. Pretend law, though, it looks like law, it has the official buildings and the fancy robes, but underneath it all, the rules are totally unpredictable. They can change on a whim.
So, what makes real law so strong and trustworthy? Well, the argument we're exploring today says you should think of a fair legal system like a strong house. To be sturdy, it needs 3 solid walls that cannot be knocked down. If even one of those walls is shaky or missing, the whole house could collapse. And the claim here is that in the Australian system, these 3 crucial walls are missing.
So what's the first wall? It's the wall of meaning. This is a big one. It just means that for a rule to be fair, the words in that rule have to mean the same thing every single day. Think about important words like fair, or right, or freedom. If those words can mean one thing on Monday and something totally different on Tuesday, how can anyone know what the rules actually are?
I mean, can you imagine trying to play that soccer game? It would be complete chaos. One minute you're playing by the rules, the next minute you get a penalty for doing the exact same thing. You'd have no idea what to do. When the meaning of the words isn't stable, you just can't have a fair game. It's impossible.
All right, on to the second wall, the wall of reason. This one isn't just about the words and the rules, but how decisions are made. For a system to be fair, the logic has to be clear and consistent. It has to make sense. Basically, the same set of facts should lead to the same result every single time. You shouldn't get punished for something today that was perfectly fine yesterday.
This is maybe the easiest way to think about it. Imagine your math teacher told you that 2 plus 2 equals 4 on Monday. Great, you got it. But then on Tuesday they say, actually, today 2 plus 2 is 5. You'd think they were bonkers, right? That's not math anymore. It's just someone making things up. And when that happens in a legal system, it's no longer based on reason. It's based on whatever someone feels like that day.
And that brings us to the third and final wall, which is maybe the most important of all, the wall of justice. Real justice has to be for everyone, all the time. Fairness can't just depend on who the referee is or what mood they're in. It has to be built into the very rules of the game itself.
Just picture it. A referee sees a player from the blue team commit a foul and blows the whistle. A few minutes later, a player from the red team does the exact same thing, and the ref just shrugs and lets play continue. That's not real justice, is it? It's just the referee's personal preference pretending to be justice.
Okay, so let's take a breath here. If the wall of meaning is gone, the wall of reason has crumbled, and the wall of justice has fallen down, what's left? If the rules themselves aren't in charge of the game anymore, then who or what is?
Well, when there's an empty space where the law should be, something else rushes in to take its place. The source material we're looking at gives this new power a name. It calls it Delta. You can think of Delta as the new referee in town, a referee who literally makes up the rules as they go along.
Now, the fancy term for this is doctrinal sovereignty. But forget the big words. All Delta really means is the rule of whatever the person in charge decides today. It's the power of a judge or an official to decide on the spot what words mean, what logic to use, and who deserves justice. It's the complete opposite of the rule of law.
Now you might be thinking this is all just an interesting idea for lawyers to talk about, but living in a system without those solid walls, a system run by Delta, has huge real-world consequences for everybody. So let's talk about why this matters so much.
This chart really lays it all out. Real law promises us predictability, so we can plan our lives. It promises fairness for everyone, and it promises that our rights are protected. But in a pretend law system, what you actually get is legal chaos. Justice becomes a total lottery. It just depends on who you get. And your rights? Well, they're not really rights anymore. They become privileges that someone can give you one day and take away the next.
And get this, the source actually tries to put a number on it. It uses something called an invariant integrity index, which is basically a fairness test. On a scale from 0 to 1, you need a score of at least 0.70 to pass the test and be considered real law. The source estimates that Australia's score could be as low as 0.28. That's not a passing grade.
So, if the game is broken, how do we fix it? The good news is the source doesn't just point out the problem, it actually offers a way to fix it, to rebuild the whole rulebook from the very beginning to make the game fair for everyone once and for all. The solution is to rebuild those 3 walls and then install locks on them so they can never be knocked down again. Step 1 is meaning locks. You give important words one single definition that can't be changed. Step 2, reason locks. You make it a rule that courts have to use the same logical steps every time. And step 3, justice locks. You build fairness right into the rules, guaranteeing that identical situations get identical results, no matter who the judge is.
And all of this leaves us with one last big question to think about. If a system's rules can be changed by whoever is in charge at any moment, is that really a system of law? Or is it just a system of power? It's a really important thing to consider. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.